Hey guys, I have been a GOLFTEC student for the last 6 months now, and I've been able to drop over 25 shots. A big part of that is because of our OptiMotion technology that we use. So we are going to walk you through that today and kind of show you why the data behind it is way better than video alone to help you improve faster.
Okay, Lexi, so we've got your golf swing up here. We saw you hit some shots. It was a lot of just inconsistent contact. Fair?
Yeah, I've been hitting behind the ball and making contact with the ground, and then I'll come and top it. So,
okay. Cool.
Not great.
Not ideal if you want to hit the ball really far.
Yeah.
So we'll definitely talk about why you're doing that. And here's one of the cool advantages to OptiMotion versus just video alone. So obviously, if you're looking at your swing on video, you can see some things that are happening two-dimensionally, which can be extremely helpful. But what we can do when we're coaching students is really use the 3D measurements and the different patterns that exist to actually show you when something needs to change and how much it needs to change, which I think is extremely valuable.
Yeah.
I know you've taken a ton of lessons, and having a coach tell you, turn more or move your hips more towards the target, that's great. But if you don't know how to quantify it and actually track your improvement, then it becomes really hard to know, am I doing the right amount? Am I doing enough? Am I not doing enough? So this is where one of the big advantages comes into play.
Yeah, I think for me, it's really hard to take a vocal command and turn it into a feel. So having that visual element where I can see exactly what I'm doing in my swing and kind of visualize how much it needs to happen and quantify it, that's been huge for my game.
Bingo. So I think that's where one of the like I said, the advantages where we can use both video and three-dimensional measurements to give you that extra feedback. So what I want you to do is check this out. So at the top of your backswing, you're doing really nice with your hip sway. You're 1.1 inches towards the target. Tour players on average are about 0.3 inches towards. So you're doing an excellent job here. That's why that number is blue. So if we take you to position 5 in the downswing, what's really cool here is you'll see your hip sway moves towards the target a little bit, but it only goes to 1.8 inches. So what Corey Connors does a really nice job of, and you can also see this represented two-dimensionally as well, he creates some space between that trail hip reference line and where his hips are now. So he's actually 2.3 inches towards the target, so about a half an inch further than where you are. So that's what allows him to hit the golf ball first and the ground second.
Yeah, okay.
So if we keep doing that same progression, if we move you to the point in time where your shaft is parallel to the ground in the downswing, which is position 6, and we do the same thing for Corey Connors, what you're gonna see is you continue to move towards the target, but you see how that number's still yellow?
Yeah.
So what that's telling me is that at this point in time, again, your hips should be about 3.1 inches towards the target. So you can see how you're moving from now, instead of being a half inch short, you're 0.7 inches short.
Yeah, and you can see how much space he's created here versus mine is still on the line.
Basically in about the same spot. So this is where video can kind of play a little bit of a trick on you if you're just looking at it without any way of measuring. Because you'd look at that and you'd go, oh, see, my hips are moving towards the target.
Yeah.
They're not where they started. Well, that's correct, but they haven't moved far enough.
Yeah.
But this is where it becomes really valuable for that three-dimensional information to kind of give you that feedback. So that's what we're gonna work on for you to help you stop hitting this far behind the golf ball. Yeah. Seem okay?
Yeah, sounds good.
Cool, let's do it. All right, so Lexi, we are going to use OptiMotion as a way to help you understand how your hips need to move.
Okay.
So this is another really cool benefit to what we can do by measuring your swing versus just using video cameras, okay? So go ahead and take your adjust position. And what I've done is I've pulled your hip sway number out onto the screen. So you can see how that number is really close to 0. It's basically hovering right around 0 or 0.1. So that means the center of your pelvis is basically right at 0, which is where it should be. Okay. That's how every golf swing starts, regardless of where your hips are. They're 0 at address, okay? What you need to do is you need to move the center of your hips more towards the target in the downswing, kind of to start things out. So what I want you to do, take your setup, take a backswing, and just stop when you get to the top of your swing. Perfect, okay? So at this point, and I know we're seeing a number that's very different than what you had when you swung. You were 1 inch towards, now you're 1 inch away.
Yeah.
I'm not really too worried about that number. What I want you to do is as you start down, I want you to move your hips towards the target so that that number gets 2 inches closer by the time your left arm's parallel to the ground.
Okay.
So it's gonna be a really exaggerated, basically shift forward of your pelvis, more over towards your lead side, very early on in the downswing. Okay, so make a slow backswing, stop when you get to the top. And now push your hips forward without bringing your arms down very much. So push your hips towards the target. There you go. So you can see how you're really quickly changing that number.
It's crazy how it feels so much more than I typically sway,
For sure.
and that's like about what it's supposed to be.
Yep, that's like the tour average. Like
Yeah.
if anything, Lexi, I would say you need to do more than that.
Okay.
Just to get the understanding of kind of what that would look and essentially feel like for you.
Okay.
So rehearse that one a couple times using the numbers here. And then what I'll have you do is just chip a couple shots out there, and we'll kind of work on this contact piece. There you go, nice, excellent. Good. Okay. Another way that you could do this, go ahead, do the same thing you have been. Take your address position for me.
Okay.
And what we'll do is we'll just preset this. So now, basically again, right around 0. Okay. So what I want you to do at this point is now push your hips towards the target until you get 3 inches towards. There you go. So that's where you should be when you hit the golf ball.
Wow.
So
okay.
now make a backswing, basically keeping your hips in that exact same spot. Same thing, start at address. That one you actually moved away from the target. So bump your hips, yep, keep them there the entire time as you make a backswing. See how that number gets smaller? I want it to actually get closer to 3. There you go. So like that's the exaggeration of what we're trying to get you to. So now we can kind of combine those two pieces together for when you actually hit a shot.
Okay.
And that's where we can use the OptiMotion technology versus just video to help with that.
Yeah.
Seem okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So go ahead and set up to a golf ball now, because you've rehearsed this quite a few times. Let's do the one where we just bump our hips towards the target to start and just keep them there. So starting pretty close to 0, bump to 3, just make a little half swing back, half swing through, keep your hips there. Awesome.
Wow, that contact was awesome.
Yeah. So that's one of the ways that you could kind of go about this type of activity with a coach when you're working on this. This would be a really, really useful tool to help you improve with any of your problems. This is something we use not just for sways. We can do turning, tilting, bending, anything that's causing issues in your golf game. This is essentially what you would do with a coach, is they would show you what's going on with OptiMotion, show you what's going on with video, and then you just work through that problem together. But I think you can attest to it. It makes it a lot easier to kind of understand what's going on.
So much easier, yeah. It's been super helpful for my game. So if you guys also want to check out OptiMotion in this technology, you can book a swing evaluation at your local GOLFTEC.